Hi all, Alan Davidson here. And you all know by now that most of my friends and colleagues call me Max. That's what they refer to me as. Anyway, this video today is a direct result of a comment that was left by one of my followers on their Facebook page earlier today. And I want them to know that I do take these things into account. I do listen. I do read to what my followers have to say, and I try to respond. And in that follower's comment, they indicated they would like candidates to be a little more specific about their platform for running in this election. And reading between the lines, what I would say is they were actually asking for a bit more meat and potatoes. So as a result, I'll address my platform yet again and try to put a little more meat and a little more potatoes on the plate for them. So here we go. Put the glasses on first so I can see where I'm at, and then I have to refer to my notes. I do apologize, but I want to hit all 5 points that are on that platform that I've listed on my candidate page, as well as I discussed them in a video earlier this week. Um, the 5 key points were that promoting full transparency wherever and whenever possible within the constraints of present town policies, procedures, and bylaws. So that's the first thing. It's very important that transparency is paramount between council and the taxpayers and the voters in this town. Promoting the fiscal responsibility and accountability and maintaining that responsibility and accountability in all matters and developments which might affect ratepayers. Promote and ensure the ongoing safety and security for all citizens in our community through interactions and engagements with members of the Amherst Police Force and the Amherst Fire Department. Probably one of the most important things for anyone in the community is knowing they're safe and they're secure, and for folks who are planning to move to this town to know that the community they're moving to is safe and secure. Next on the list here is promote and ensure the ongoing work on the critical infrastructure of the town is maintained, along with future needed infrastructure projects. Now, infrastructure could be a whole video unto itself. So I'm just going to touch on some of the things that are most current as far as infrastructure, using our winter season. Come a snowstorm, for instance, our town crews and our maintenance crews are out there all hours of the day and night doing a wonderful job at making sure our streets and our sidewalks are cleared. And then the next day when they get to the point where they can get those sidewalk snowplows out and those salt carts, they're out there clearing those sidewalks, making sure there's salt down for good traction for folks, people walking on the sidewalks. Those are just a couple of things. And of course, waste management. I mean, we have a company that's contracted to pick up our waste and our garbage and what have you on a weekly basis. And these are just a few of the things. Like I said, make a whole video on infrastructure, but we'll keep it to that for now. Finally, finally is to promote and encourage and ensure taxpayers have a valid voice on such issues where necessary that would affect either their provincial property assessment rates or their local taxpayer rates through public engagement and plebiscites as and when and where necessary. Now, I'm a firm believer in plebiscites, but not just for the sake of having a plebiscite. And I'll use these examples. This is an example. Let's say the town wanted to build a project or engage in a project that was going to leave the town with a deficit of $600,000 or $700,000 a year in the red. Who's going to pick that up? Taxpayers. And there's two very good examples, according to reliable sources I have, of communities not that far from Amherst, one of which has a development that they undertook a few years ago, which now has left the taxpayers in that area with a $1.5, $1.6 million deficit in the red that the taxpayers are going to have to deal with. A little bit further down the road from them, there's another community, same situation, built a complex, built into their infrastructure, a project which is now less than 1.1 million or 1.2 million in the red. Who's going to have to pick up that deficit? The taxpayers. So in a case like that, I would want to know that the taxpayers would be in favor of moving forward with such a project through a public plebiscite. However, I am not in favor of a plebiscite. Let's say, for instance, we had 6, 7, or a dozen taxpayers demanding a plebiscite to get rid of a bylaw in the town. Sorry, that's not the way it works. If you feel there's an unjust bylaw, then you do go through the proper process. It's called judicial process, and that's how you do that. So yes, I'm in favor of plebiscites when they're necessary. I'm not in favor of them when they're not necessary. I believe that when you're elected to town council or whatever the situation may be, that the people who have voted for you, they put their faith and trust in you to do the right thing and represent them in a manner which looks after their interests, the best interests of not just a few, but everyone in the town. So if you had a plebiscite just because you wanted to have a plebiscite, well, then why bother having elections? Plebiscites aren't cheap. They're not cheap to run, believe me. Anyway, I just want to finish this video by staying on the fiscal responsibility thing a little bit. And I always think of Hazel McCallion. She was a 12-term mayor. She's the late Hazel McCallion, 12-term mayor of the city of Mississauga in Ontario. And a number of years ago, quite a number of years ago, I was in Mississauga at a sporting conference. And Hazel was one of the speakers there. And believe me, that woman had wit like no one I've ever met. She was no bigger than a minute and 90 miles an hour. She had the nickname Hurricane Hazel. That's another story. Anyway, Hazel made a comment along the lines, I'm not at this particular conference, but she made this comment which has always stuck in my mind, where she said, I spend taxpayers' dollars, or I spend taxpayers' money like I spend my own, which is seldom. And you know, that's a good thing to adhere to if you're a member of a town council and sitting in a vacant council seat. That's something to remember, is that you want to spend the taxpayers' money like you spend your own. Seldom. Anyway, with that, I'm going to close for today. It's an absolutely beautiful day in the neighborhood. And I'm going to get out after I close this video down. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go for a walk, get some fresh air and some sunshine. And I'll close, as I usually do, by saying, stay safe, stay warm, and stay healthy. Until the next time, bye for now.